A single beaver builds a pond. A population rebuilds a watershed. Given a century, given enough water and wood and spare rodents, the species will remake the map of a continent, one dam at a time. The animal is a large, semi-aquatic rodent of the genus Castor. Two species, Castor canadensis, the North American beaver, and Castor fiber, the Eurasian beaver. A typical adult weighs about 20 kilograms, 44 pounds, with head and body length of 74 to 90 centimeters, or 30 to 35 inches. The tail adds another 20 to 35 centimeters. Beavers swim well and can remain submerged for up to 15 minutes on a single breath. Both species are listed on the IUCN Red List as least concern. That status is the result of a recovery, a deliberate one, carried by trapping bans, reintroductions, and legal protection through the 20th century. A century earlier, both species had been trapped nearly to extinction for their fur. The beaver's tools are its teeth and its tail. The incisors grow continuously. The enamel contains iron, which hardens the leading edge and gives the teeth their characteristic orange color. The animal cuts willows, aspens, and poplars at the base, floats the branches into a shallow stretch of stream, and wedges them against the current. Mud, stones, and more branches are added on the upstream face. What results is a dam, typically tens of meters long, that raises the water upstream into a pond. In the pond, the beavers build a lodge of woven sticks with an underwater entrance, dry chamber above, hidden from predators below. A family occupies it, a breeding pair, yearlings, and kits. The largest known beaver dam stretches about 850 meters, half a mile, in Wood Buffalo National Park, northern Alberta. Satellite imagery identified it in 2007. The dam is large enough to be visible from orbit. Dams do more than flood woodland. In 2008, Glynis Hood and Susan Bayley of the University of Alberta published a study in the journal Biological Conservation. They examined 54 years of aerial photographs of Elk Island National Park, a small protected area east of Edmonton. Their finding was specific and unambiguous. The study period included drought years and wet years. It spanned decades when beavers were absent from the park, as well as periods when they had returned. Across the full record, beaver-active sites held about 9 times more open water than the same sites without them. During droughts, the difference widened. The beaver ponds held water when the surrounding landscape dried out. A second finding, in 2020. Emily Fairfax and Andrew Whittle published a study in Ecological Applications on satellite imagery of 5 large wildfires in the western United States, in California, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, and Wyoming. Using the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, a measure of plant greenness taken from orbit, they compared riparian corridors with and without beaver dams during and after each fire. On average, the drop in vegetation greenness during the fire was about 3 times larger in areas without beavers than in beaver-dammed corridors. The beaver wetlands were too wet to burn. They served as refuge for animals physically unable to outrun the flames. The populations behind these studies are themselves a recovery. Before European trapping began in the 16th century, the North American beaver numbered an estimated 100 to 200 million animals across the continent. No other semi-aquatic mammal in North American history has reached that figure. The Hudson's Bay Company, founded in 1670, took furs home for 2 centuries. By the late 1800s, the species was a scarcity. Fur hats had gone out of fashion in Paris a few decades before, and fashion, more than law, had saved the animal. The population now stands at 10 to 15 million. In Europe, the collapse was sharper. By 1900, the Eurasian beaver survived in 8 small relict populations, about 1,200 animals in total. Through Soviet and European reintroductions, the species reached about 1.5 million by 2020. The recovery required advocates. In 1931, a naturalist who called himself Gray Owl settled at Lake Ajawaan in Prince Albert National Park, Saskatchewan, and began living with a pair of orphaned beavers he named Jelly Roll and Rawhide. Grey Owl's real name was Archibald Stansfeld Belaney. Born in Hastings, England in 1888, he had adopted an indigenous persona that he maintained until his death in 1938. The persona was false, the advocacy was not. His 1930 National Parks film, The Beaver People, reached international audiences. His 1935 book, Pilgrims of the Wild, reached them again. His lecture tour through Britain and North America carried the message to listeners who had never thought of a rodent as worth saving. The obituaries that followed his death exposed the deception. By then, the trapping bans were already in place. A beaver does not know it has engineered an ecosystem. It is an animal fitting a stream to its own use, one branch at a time. The continent-scale outcome, ponds that hold water through drought, corridors that do not burn, emerges as the accidental sum of that one behavior, repeated for 10 million years. Next, a smaller engineer, grown by the square kilometer,